Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me tonight. Oh, as always, remember, I have this session every Tuesday and Thursday evening. We are going to analyze some charts and just have a plan for uh, the following trading days and the trading days to come. So, as that, we'll begin. And as before, my the link to my YouTube channel is in the description. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. Help support me as I grow this. And also, the link to our Discord is in the description. So feel free to come join us. We'd like to have you guys. Come learn with us. Come teach us. All right. So hopping right in, we'll look at the heat map of what has happened today. A lot of red. I see a lot of red. So the market today was struggling a little bit. You can see the only thing that was really, let me bring my pen up. The only thing that was really, green was a few little stocks here. Right, so you have your healthcare sector that was a few green, T-Mobile, Procter and Gamble. So a little bit of consumer staples. But other than that, everything else was pretty. Everything else was pretty red, right? So down for the day. Okay, so jumping into SPY, right? Switch to the daily, and a recap of what I said last Tuesday when we had the session was that in between this zone, there's 50, in between this 50 and this 50 right here and this 200 is a danger zone. And the reason why I call it the danger zone is because price likes to bounce in between here. And so it's doing this bounce right here. Now, now we're in a time where things are not going to be trending up, as we've known in the last 2 years. We're probably going to be consolidating for, a number of months, maybe even years. But we just got to be careful and just know that if you are, know what style you are trading. If you're long term, stick to your long term game plan and don't try to hop around. If you see, especially if you see something that scares you, remember, stick to your long term game plan. But if you're shorter term, definitely use this volatility as an advantage to you because you can catch a few dollars up and down. You see today's candle, it went from 446 to about so in the high 450s or the low 450s. So that's something to pay attention to. Okay, so now we're gonna go down to the hourly. Okay, so the hourly, like I said, I like to look for this setup, but it's never really, just because I said that, it's something I look for doesn't mean that you also, it can't just go sideways. So the 50, whenever the 50 is over the 200, right? This analysis right here, 50 over the 200, I like to go long or look for long positions to be in. So you see here, the 50 is over 200. You see the price is still holding about the 200 in between the 50 and the 200. But it's holding. So tomorrow we'll see how it goes. Tonight was actually Amazon's earnings. So but for sure Amazon's good earnings did save the market from going down even more. So we see right at close right here. Okay, let me switch to this. Right at close, you can see that huge spike up, that huge candle that spiked it up, right? So right before close was this candle right here, and after close was this candle right here. And you can see it shot up. So price is still staying here. Tomorrow, maybe we come back down here, or we attempt a breakout. Right? So that's two things that could happen tomorrow. But being that it is a Friday, right? As I always mention in my previous sessions, Friday is a day to be careful. If you are a short-term trader, Friday might be a very boring day, right? Like this right here, not a lot of things happening, just slowly inching down or just bouncing in between a range, right? So you can catch that. But be careful because Fridays are with any long position or any swing positions or anything that's going to be at longer than a day, because Fridays are days where it presents 2 days where you can't do anything, right? After the market, you can't do anything. And also, Friday is a day where data hurts the most if you're an option trader. Right? Holding something for more than a few hours, you're gonna feel the effects of data. So that's buy. Tomorrow, we might bounce, right? So this right here lines up with the 200 hourly, this resistance line, support line right here. We might have a small bounce and trade between 440 and 450. It's my thinking, especially since Amazon did come save the day. So speaking of Amazon, we'll hop in and look at that. Crazy things happen on this chart today, right? We saw in the AM huge gap down, right? Test that uh, went to 3,000, a little over 3,000, and then just shot down. So tomorrow, this also didn't reflect the price that happened after hour too. After hour, we have to dive down into the hourly here. So that resistance line from before at 3,000 is here. So it's situated itself above 3,000 again, right? Above 3,000 is in that channel. So maybe we go back in this channel and play in this channel, which will be a good thing because this is a really predictable action, and I hope that we stay in this channel for the rest of the year, right? So something like this, right? All the way back in 2021 or 2020, actually 2020 here, and it just continue. So this whole channel has been existing, and it's back today with the price movement. We're back into this channel. Now, this channel is a long channel, right? A lot of time in there. So being back in there is good, right? So we a longer look at the hourly. Let's go. 180 days should be enough. You can see this channel here, right? So it's been trending down here, and then today we moved up. And also, if you notice, the 50 moving average and the 200 moving average are getting really close again, right? You see how far apart they were for the number of weeks before, but now they're getting really close again. So we're gonna get a crossover, and that crossover, we're gonna be looking for long positions to the upside, and especially if it's gonna be playing this range, we're gonna range bound for another year or so. Then it'll be a good play, right? You get calls at the bottom, at the top, you sell off, and then wait for the bottom again. Just doing that back and forth, right? So set up like that. Today we'll also look at Apple, right? Go in order. Apple still holding strong, right? But one thing I don't like about the chart on here, and let me get my drawing tool. So this was the all-time high right here, all-time high, and we haven't formed a new high yet. If anything, we formed a lower high. So lower high here. If we don't see in the next few days this going this way, we're probably gonna see it bounce down, right? Bounce down, and then what could happen is this kind of behavior, right? So we have our high here, and we might see this pattern of it making lower highs and higher lows. So it'll be something like this until it reaches a little point right here before it decides, right? So we're not completely out of the woods yet, Apple hasn't had any strong moves to the upside or downside that is of any significant. If anything, it's looking like it's going to be a drawn out thing. We're probably going to see things just holding, going above and below the 50 moving average on the daily for Apple. Okay. And looking at the hourly, right? Diving down to the hourly. I mentioned this before. We see whenever we see runs like this, right? We see runs where it's clearly defining a direction to the upside, and then we just hit a wall, right, and form a channel in here. This is not a good sign. It just means there's not enough buying to continue helping price up to the upside, and eventually, it's probably gonna fall back down, right? Someone's gonna take profit up here. It's gonna fall back down. We're gonna go down to here. So we're probably gonna go and test. I want to see if we are going to test this low again, right? Or we're going to form a higher low. So higher low is, will probably be like right here, right? Because this is the lowest low. So higher low will be somewhere right here. So somewhere in the 160, the high 160s, or even the low, the just above 160 will still be good. So that's where I'm seeing things and where things could be going. So that's Apple. Let's look at AMD. AMD for sure has been holding. So it's since its earnings report, right? It had a great earnings, right? We look at this thing, right? Diving down to the fundamental look at things, right? Earnings per share. I haven't seen this earning per share this high in a long time or ever, right? The average of the last 5 years was only 9.8, and then this current one is 344. That's insane. It's good for the short term, but one thing I wanted to point out, and also a con of it, is that it's so high that it might be very difficult for next earnings report to beat that. And when a growth stock doesn't beat earnings report, it's gonna come down for a little bit. So we want to be careful because we do have a lot of headwinds. A lot of things that are reporting good. It's good for right now, but it's not going to be good for the future, right? One thing I also have to point out is that's probably why Amazon was good, because the last two earnings of Amazon was very, I wouldn't say bad, but they were less than expected. So then this one, when it did beat earnings, it was actually a good thing for Amazon. So it drove the price. So that's why Amazon saved the day today. Right. So looking at this, right, still holding in that danger zone, that 200, right, above the 200, below the 50. Rewrite that 50, 200, right? So prices in here, and I feel like it's gonna just keep bouncing in there, right? Unless something completely bad happens and it just takes it straight down, but very unlikely. Not until the next FOMC meeting, at least, which is here. So this right here is FOMC meeting, the 14th of March. So it's going to be staying here. That's what we like to see, right? Nothing moving, just chopping every single day. So you see there, slowly on the hourly, slowly the 50 is just creeping above the 200. You see here. So I mentioned this in the Discord today and I actually showed the chart of it. So we had this sort of movement, right? And this is a good pickup area, right? Because it could be moving this way, right? We're probably not going to go to the upside any significant, but it's a good pickup area because from here, right, it's at 120, 122 with aftermarket, 122. Maybe we retest this right here, which is the high from here, right? Or we go all the way up to 140 again, just to test 140, the resistance at 140. So, and this is, building strength, It looks good from a short-term perspective. Maybe the next few days, maybe even next week, we go back up and test that. But we're not going to keep it. I don't think we're going to keep it at all, because 140, look on the daily, 140 is right here, which is still establishing a lower, establishing a lower high, right? So if it goes to 140, 140 is right here in the next few days. It's still establishing a lower high. If anything, we are in a channel like this to the downside. So we want to be careful. Okay, that's AMD, right? A lot of changes to it. You know, it's chopped to one side versus the other, but we're still playing in sort of a range. And I would almost prefer it because it makes it predictable, right? If it just stays in this range right here. And it just does this for a while, right? But we probably might not see that. And also be aware, because this earnings was way good. So it'll be a tough act to follow for next one, right? So this Nvidia, let's take a look at Nvidia. And just like AMD, it's in that danger zone. Keep talking about this danger zone. And last year, a lot of stocks that I looked at was in this danger zone too. You know, and it's not uncommon, right? There's 3 phases to any market. There is the stock going down, right? Going down consistently, a bear market, going up consistently, a bull market, and then an indecision market where the price just likes to chop around and do nothing, right? 80% of the time, it's an indecision market. You know, maybe you get a few months out of the year where you see true direction, but that's it, right? Maybe a little bit more, but in some odd years, you might get more, but most of the time, the market is indecision. So we're going into that kind of period, and I just want to see it hold, right? I just want to see it hold, see if it can hold here, because like I said, lower highs again, lower highs, and if it goes off and still breaks above the 200, but it just only goes to 280 right here, or the 50, I mean, and it goes to 280 right here, it's still a lower high, right? Still will be in this channel. So that's one thing to keep in mind, right? But chops like this makes good trading for short term, right? So just like AMD, the 50 is slowly creeping above the 200. It's sitting right here. So we want to be on the lookout for maybe a break, right? So right here, so it could break this way. If this is a bullish sign, if it continues to the 50 continues to the upside, continues to stay, we'll go to the upside. Maybe we could go to test the 170 or maybe the 270 or 280 here. So that's the look of it, right? Blue chips. Okay, look at Tesla. Now Tesla is doing, it hasn't crossed yet, shorter trend, but let's look at the daily first. So forming a more longer drawn out, higher lows. I want to see it come back and test the 1000. We'll eventually see it because I think it's going to stay between this range for a while, the 900 or at least 800, right? I wanted to see it just stay in the 1000 and 1900, but I think that's just too tight of a range for Tesla. Tesla has a daily range of like 60, almost $70 average daily range. So you have to give it a little bit buffer. But this 800, and it's in that danger zone too, right? Price is in that danger zone between the 50 and the 200, where we don't get any clear direction, right? So I think it's going to move in here, right? Test some. It could peak above 1000, but we're probably going to not be able to keep anything above 1000 yet. We're probably going to see that until maybe the later half of the year. And so, July going into August, September, maybe. Hopefully this year we have a Santa rally, right? The last like 2-3 months of the year. Maybe we see it, run a little harder, and maybe it'll retest this high right here, right? This high of 2,000. But until then, we're probably gonna chop around. All right. So on hourly, the 50 is looking like it's moving to the upside, but we haven't seen a cross yet. Right, the last few days, I pointed this out. Right, this right here looks like an inverse head and shoulder. So inverse head and shoulder means it's gonna go to the upside here. Right, so you can see here, this is the head. Right, head with the shoulder. Right, left shoulder, right shoulder. Right, and so the neckline right here. Right, to the upside. So, and it's still holding true today. So that's a pattern that is still keeping. Um, so we might break out to not break out, but we might go to the upside for a little bit. Maybe we retest 950. It did go down today, down a little bit hard because it went up for the first 2 hours and then it just came back down. We basically just ended up nowhere. But tomorrow, with the good earnings of Amazon and a few other little techs, we're probably gonna go a little bit up, but probably not much. Maybe we peak above 950 or just right to 950, but I don't see anything else more than that. Yeah. But I also could be wrong. So that's Tesla. All right, let's take a look at Sofi now. Sofi, my gambling pick. All right, 5 years. All right. So Sofi keeps doing this, and it's been doing this pattern for a week or so now, but it's been keeping above or trying to keep above $12. Right. So this right here, $12. It did peak up a little bit below in here, but it's trying to keep this $12 level. Maybe we see a bounce to the upside, but not going to be huge. It's not going to be as huge as this candle because this is the channel that it formed so far. So we want to see we will truly want to see it break above here, right? So above $14 and keep it, right? So we go up here and then something like that, right? Back into this channel. That would be something that I would like to see. But you could also go trend lower, right? So one more. I talked about PayPal, but PayPal is just not getting any bid at all. They have bad earnings too. So, but the thing with PayPal is it's not a bad company. It just have bad earnings. Probably, let's take a look at the fundamentals of PayPal, right? Earnings per share is not terribly terrible, right? Earnings per share, net income is not crazy. It's still higher than the 5-year average. Revenue is still higher, a little bit higher. But what killed it was earnings that was bad, right? The 20, it's a 20. This is a monthly chart. Bad earnings, and so what I'm really hoping for is that it forms some sort of support somewhere, right? If it so happens to be at this 200 level right here at 80, because this takes it back to 2019, or if it's going to go back to 2018 prices, we don't know. But this is presenting a opportunity because PayPal is not a bad company per se. PayPal is still really, really good, and it's just having a really bad time, and I hope it survives. If it does, it could set you up with a good stock to invest in for the next like 5-10 years. You're slowly adding into it every here and there, but something that's been beaten up and just maybe an opportunity. right? Its counterpart. We take a look at the counterpart of Visa. You know, Visa has a great monthly, not so great at being a trading stock, but good little investment, right? See the chart of it, doing good. Fundamentals are good too, I believe. Yeah, fundamentals are all good here. You know, all look good to me. Uh, but in terms of like huge growth, you're not gonna see huge growth. But you're gonna see stability. You know, inching forward somewhere. You could put your money safe, but also put it safe and then have a good stop in place. There's also Mastercard, right, holding well. Now I want to bring one last one, and I promise. T-Mobile. Yeah, T-Mobile has been doing some pretty good things, and it's been holding, right? So it had got beaten up, and it's holding. It's actually up on good earnings, really good earnings too, right? Really good earnings, and so the fundamentals are not that great at the moment, but have really good earnings. So maybe it starts to build from here, right? Because it can definitely beat these earnings per share in this last earning report and go for places, right? It'll maybe start another streak for another few years or a few sessions, right? Could be a good pickup. All right, with that, I'm going to end it here. I hope everybody is getting something out of this. I know I do this to give me a refresher and what to look at, but hope that you guys are also getting things. And remember, if you haven't already, please help subscribe to my YouTube channel. And, hopefully we keep growing in there. I will continue to produce these videos and these sessions that we have just to learn from each other. And also, if you haven't already joined the Discord, we'd love to have you there. We're there most of the days. There's very smart people. People are smarter than me, who are more knowledgeable about the markets. All types of traders, investors, whoever they know even more things to look at than me. But come join us in there. We'd love to have you guys. And with that, I hope everybody stays safe, trade safe, and have big gains. Have a good night, everybody.